If you're planning an online sales launch and a strategy to sell a group coaching program, one of the things that's really important is that your sales cycle is planned out in advance to make the smoothest customer journey possible. Stay tuned. In this video, I'm going to give you a few ways you can think about that and questions you should be asking yourself, and even a tactical way to map it out so that you can plan before you build and make sure that you're planning a customer journey that works for your ideal clients and helps boost your sales. Hi, my name is Andrea. I'm the founder of Legacy Creative and a brand strategist. For many years, my team and I have helped visionaries and entrepreneurs and subject matter experts build digital businesses that work. That means we're like behind the scenes doing all the building on a regular basis. And what we've noticed is a lot of times people don't necessarily give the how-to advice that needs to be given. And so that's what we're trying to help you with on this channel. If you work with people like that, or you are a person like that, please be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell to be notified next time we go live. Let's jump in. Here's what I want to talk about today. When you're planning a launch for a digital program, specifically, let's just for the rest of this video pretend that it's a group program. You, the visionary, and the team that supports the visionary need to plan out what that sales cycle is going to look like from the perspective of the customer. So what I mean by that is, what's the customer journey? What do they see first? What do they see next? Where are they in their buying cycle? Where are they in their intimacy to you? All of that actually needs to be planned out pretty strategically. Of course, there's things like messaging. And when you work with a copywriter, they're going to explain messaging to you and they're going to lay out all of the copy. But prior to that, a copywriter needs to see the sales strategy. What's the funnel? That's what a fairly common way to say it is, like funnel or sales strategy. Here's the thing you want to think about. Number one, where are your leads coming from? I talked about this in another video. It's so important that you have a lead generation plan in place. So if you have leads that have already been working with you, say you're a therapist and you're launching a group program, and you have leads that you've been working with for years, they already have a level of intimacy with you and they might not need as many touch points. But on the other hand, if you have leads that are coming from cold traffic on Facebook, you're buying traffic that you're giving a lead magnet away for, those people are going to need a lot more touch points to trust you, to know that you're the person they want to work with. So you want to think about your lead strategy and how intimate is your audience with you already. And that's one of the first things you want to assess. It's basically, how long have they known you and how much of an authority are you in your subject matter, and how fresh are they to your leads in your funnel overall. It's a really important thing so that you're designing the right sales strategy based on who your people are. Now that you have decided and you've got mapped out how intimate are you with your leads and how long have they known you for, you want to think about what are those people going to need in order to trust you enough to convert and buy what you're selling. So here's what I mean by that. You want to think about, do they need a webinar? Maybe they do need like a 1-hour webinar with you. And then at the end of that webinar, they need an offer to come to a discovery call. Maybe they don't need the webinar. Maybe they really are okay with just a few emails that invite them to a discovery call. These are variables that go into launch strategies that you should be thinking about with you and your team. So here's how we plan it out. We open up a chart, a Lucid Chart, 3D online tool planning. There's lots of them. Recently, I've been really liking Conceptboard. Lucid Chart's another great one, but we literally just open it up and we start using icons and we map it out. Or another thing we do is we map it out on a whiteboard. I actually like whiteboards a lot more than anything online, but sometimes in the digital world, you have to work online. So you want to open up something that looks like a whiteboard. If you're using digital, try Conceptboard. If you're in person, use a whiteboard. And imagine you're the customer and go back to, where are they starting when they first hear about you and what it is that you're gonna sell? And write that down. So here's our people and here's where they're coming from. And then start mapping out, what are they going to actually need to want to buy from you? So I usually start with the beginning and the end in mind. What are we selling? How much is it gonna be? When does it start? All of those sorts of things. You wanna map out all the things of what is it that we're selling. And then you have to fill in the gap from where are they starting to what are you selling? So again, this includes things like, do they need a webinar? Yes or no? Do they need a sales call? Yes or no? Or a discovery call? Do they need another follow-up call after the discovery call? Because that's pretty common that there'll be one call and then another call because you want to work with them. There'll be one call and then another call because they need to think about it overnight or for a couple of days. Then you want to plan out What's your email support system that's gonna, invite people to all of these things? And what sorts of emails and social media posts do you need to be writing and planning? Typically, what you put out through email and what you put out through social media is pretty darn close to the same. It's just edited for context. So you wanna send an email that invites them to the first touch point for your offer. And the first touch point might be a webinar. And that's all the email needs to be, is only invite to the webinar for a little while and let people come to the webinar and learn on the webinar what you're gonna teach them. Then after that, at the end of the webinar, you wanna say, hey, okay, we know these people need to jump on a call with us and talk to us because they need a discovery call. So at the end of the webinar, you wanna invite people and say, if you wanna talk to us, here's what it looks like. Or maybe you don't need a discovery call at the end of the webinar. That's okay too. Then at the end of the webinar, you wanna make an offer to purchase. Basically, my point is what you need to do before you start creating is to put together a sales plan. And that sales plan needs to have all of these little micro conversions along the way. One of the other things that I find people fall apart on all the time is after you're discovery call or your first touch point with them face-to-face is that we forget that people need time to think, they need time to decide, and you should probably follow up with them several times. So follow-up frequently looks like this. Maybe you need to book another call with them. I sometimes do that on my first call is I book my second call because I'm reading the body temperature and the conversation with the other person. Okay, another thing that people often forget about is after the discovery call, maybe it's really personable to send an email right away and say, hey, Joe, it was awesome to meet with you. Here's the 3 to 5 things we talked about, and I look forward to our next touch point. In the meantime, I know you mentioned you need a couple days to think about it. Go ahead and I will follow up shortly. Now, the reason that extra follow-up touch point happens and helps is that lots of people are not going to make an immediate decision. And the more you can follow up with them, the more likely you are to close sales. And then closer to the end of your sales cycle, once you've moved through a little bit, it's really important that you maybe make some last offers. One of the things I see our clients do quite frequently is they just give up too soon. And if you've watched many of my videos, you'll hear me say this, oh, you need to follow up 3 to 5 to 7 to 9 times to get people to say yes. And so frequently what happens is we give up too soon, or we make our follow-up not personable enough. And so I highly recommend that you keep track of the people that you're working with and the people that are in your sales funnel, and you follow up with them over and over again. Now, the way I do this is I use what's called a Kanban board, which basically is across the top, what part of the pipeline are they in, and how can I move them from phase to phase of the pipeline. So after I do a discovery call with them, I move them over to now we're in follow-up mode. And then after follow-up mode, I move them over to now they're in deposit mode. And after deposit mode, I move them over to now they're in welcome mode. Basically, you wanna think about how can you keep people's journey going and make sure that your sales process is seamless and designed for what's going to work for them. Now, I hope you found this helpful. Maybe it's a little bit of how-to behind the scenes. And until next time, my name is Andrea. Make it a great day.